back to Momentous Struggle, a Star Wars Shatterpoint podcast. On today's episode, Aubrey and I are going to be talking about the Yub Nub Squad Pack and just giving a little bit of a rundown of what we think about that. So let's go ahead and jump into it. First things first, I do want to set a shout out to all of our patrons. This show is supported by a Patreon, and all of the patrons that we have started up that at as low as $1 a month to help support the podcast if you are so interested. But this week, we do want to welcome our newest patrons and thank them for their support. We have Matthew, Samson, Jared, Craig, Shane, and Richard. Thank you very much for being patrons. We do appreciate you helping us to support the podcast and keep the lights on. So
Yes, absolutely. We are really excited. We're gonna be doing more things with that in the future, but starting here at the ground level. They were the OGs, right?
the OGs, original OPs, the original patrons. Well, yeah. Either way, thank you very much for your support.
Sure.
But thanks again for your support. But as always, joined by Aubrey. Aubrey, how we doing? I know you're a little under the weather and you're getting through it. So how you doing though? How you holding up?
Well, the house beckons more, so had to work on some bathrooms, which was supposed to just be installing a couple of faucets. Very straightforward. Couple of screws, take them off, put them back on. Turned out in me finding random leaks in both bathrooms. So, not gonna lie, that one's still in progress.
Well, welcome to
And of
homeownership.
course, yes, at the tournament, I feel bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks. Thanks, Todd.
Yeah,
Thanks. Yes, home ownership.
home ownership is great. Welcome to it. No, but yeah, no. I mean, and we did have a tournament yesterday. I don't think we're going to go too far down that rabbit hole because we don't want to take up too much time. But yeah, we had a fun tournament. You were fighting for first place there, and ended up losing to our first place winner, which was Izzy. I call him Tater. He goes by Hispanic Potato on all of the different social medias that he does and everything like that. So, no, Tater did good. The funny thing is that this was his first Shatterpoint tournament. He came out swinging, but he's been playing MCP for a while. He's really a really good MCP player. So the skills that are definitely transferable from one set of AMG games to the other. So he did really well though, and really awesome to see him come out and just take the entire tournament down yesterday.
And don't forget, dear listeners, he was just running the core box.
Yeah.
That's it. Mando's, Ahsoka, Maul. That was it. No Vader, no Grievous, no fancy stuff. Just good old fashioned mid range. Let's do the thing. It was a fun game in the third round. Not gonna lie, that was about when I figured out that there might be something going on with me. So, because I was starting to feel really run down, and I did my best. There were definitely a few occasions where uh, I'm trying to remember where it just felt like I didn't necessarily do anything wrong. I just got outplayed. Like I can't think of any mistakes that I made
Mm-hmm.
because I mean the only thing I can think of that is not really a mistake, but just how the cards fall is my first few activations were a little weird in the sense that I had to activate because I had put somebody in reserve and I had to send both Fifth Brother and OB2 onto the same point
Yeah.
because nothing else made sense. Like I couldn't get Obi-Wan where I wanted him to go. And like that did set me back for like the later parts of the game because both of them ended up being on the opposite side from the objectives that they needed to get onto. But I mean that's not a mistake. That's just kind of what happens sometimes with your order deck. And then just no, the Mandalorians they came in. There was a couple of moments where uh, I almost had two objectives swung away from me from just the because the Mandalorians a lot of the terrain was one elevation up and
Mm-hmm.
they've got all those jumps and my team was Vader and Maul and even though that you can do some things like that was the weakness, and the Mandalorians took advantage of it because I would take objectives, but then I'd get pushed off, and then the Mandalorians would jump on, and you're like, oh, okay, all right, this is slowly not going the way I want it to go.
Yeah, no, and like I said, Izzy's a fantastic player. He definitely knows how to play. He plays spider foes in MCP for those who know MCP, and so he knows how to play the objective game. He's very good at playing scenario. So it was not very surprising to me that he was able to just come in and really take everybody out for sure. So that was awesome. I was glad to see that we got a new player in there and started. It's bringing new blood into the game for sure. But let's go ahead and jump into the main topic, which is talking about this Yub Nub squad pack. This comes with one primary, and that is Low-Grade Bright Tree Shaman. So he's got the keywords of Endor, Ewok, Shaman. He is only Galactic Civil War era, so no other eras in there, which is, kind of what we expect with like a lot of these new releases coming out and everything along those lines. So it's really exciting to see that he has 8 squad points, 3 force, so pretty standard stuff across the board there. First ability, he has his Tactics ability, which is the Inspiring Presence at the start of this unit's activation. Each allied Ewok warrior unit gains a hunker and then may remove up to 2 damage or 1 special condition from itself. And then each allied Ewok scout may dash. Funny thing here, and I think I checked to see beforehand if there was an errata. There hasn't been an errata yet. The Ewok warriors are referred to as warriors in the PDF for building the team, but they're actually the trappers in the box, and the scouts are the hunters. So there's I think there's no warriors or no scouts that are actually released, but the hunter or the trappers are referred to as warriors in the PDF for the assembly PDF for this box. So I'm assuming the warriors are the trappers and the scouts are the hunters. So there might need to be an errata that comes out to this card just to put that together.
Wait, wait, are we sure it's not just an error in the assembly thing?
But look at
Because
if
the
you
trappers are scouts, right?
no, because so his card
Is that
refers to Ewok warriors and Ewok scouts, but the units that we have that are Ewoks are unless is that what they're referring to as their tag of Ewok warrior?
Yeah, no. It's just referring to their tag. That's
There's no
all.
the Ewok trappers only have Endor, Ewok, and Scout tags. So I guess it's a Scout because of the Ewok Scout. That's so weird how it puts it that way, but I guess that makes sense for global.
Yeah, no, it's so you can only it's a global ability, and so
Okay,
you only get to move the scouts, and then the warriors only get to hunker. Otherwise, can you imagine if they gave every single Ewok a hunker, remove 2 damage or a condition, and dash? Like, man, that'd be like better than Kalani.
yeah,
Like, ooh, ooh, yeah, because it would give them to all of them. Yeah, no,
okay,
it's just so that like the ones that are Ewok warriors, so that would be
the
again the hunters,
yep,
and then the they would get that first ability,
hmm
and then the Ewok trappers they'll get the second ability.
got it. Okay,
That, right?
yeah,
That makes sense.
yeah,
Well, because this also affects the secondaries, right? Paplu and Wicket, because Papalu's an Ewok scout and
yeah, and Wicket's a
uh
warrior.
Wicket's a
So that makes
warrior,
it even
right?
that makes
So
this ability even stronger then because you're able to sit there and do
yeah,
everybody. Yeah, this was stronger than I initially thought actually. Now like I go back and look at the tags for everybody. It's like that means like if you're running just all Ewoks, everybody's doing something. You're moving all the Ewoks up the board. All your warriors are getting hunkers. Yeah, that's wild.
yeah, no, the Ewoks are murder bears. That's why if you look at the two primaries that we have for the Ewoks, and I know we're only going over the one today, but they have chief and shaman. They don't
Mhm.
have warrior. Because can you imagine if this moved primaries too? Just giant wall of teddy bears.
Yeah, so I mean, it's a really cool ability though, being able to like just shove everybody up the board or remove damage and conditions from other ones. So it's just I can see it all Ewoks team being really fun. Again, we don't know how competitive they're going to be, but there's a lot you can let. There's a lot of play here, I think.
Oh yeah, yeah. This is the just this ability alone. I went, whoa,
Yeah,
this is scary, especially when you look at the next one. We got the next one's pretty good too.
yeah,
We know what this is.
yeah. Elder's Command. It's basically a one force four. You choose an Ewok supporting unit within four, and basically they get to charge. Not charge, but they make a dash, and then they can either gain a hunker, remove a condition, or make a 5 dice attack. So basically, and that's an active ability. So it's basically what we've seen on droids before. It's basically just doing your tactical network with droids, but on Ewoks.
Yeah, yeah. It's the same thing. I like it. It's good. We I don't think we need to talk about this one. Is anyone still sleeping on Tactical Network? Because
No,
here you go, Teddy Edition.
not at all. No, definitely a great ability. So, and then the next active ability, because it has two, is stealthy approach. Each character in this unit may dash. Then this unit may gain a hunker token and immediately make a immediately make a focus action. So, one force, move them. You gain a hunker or make a focus action, and this unit does have ranged attacks as well. So adding dice to it might be able to just move into a position to where you're making a good attack because there he does have range four on his attacks. So always like being able to get a little extra movement out of somebody.
Yeah, yeah. The first, it's good, and then also getting a bonus. Like that's the funny thing about some of these abilities. I like how some of them are just you get the full advance. Some of them are just a dash. Sometimes you get a bonus. Sometimes you get to pick a bonus. Like it's fun. I don't. It's nice that we have all these different variants on the movement.
Yes, I mean, and like there's a lot going on with these Ewoks, which is really cool too. So, and then there's two innate abilities. One is one's his identity. One's just a regular innate ability. His regular innate ability is passive wards. Well, this unit is not wounded character in other allied Ewok units within range four. Add 1 dice to their defense roll, and that's it. No force required for this because it's an innate ability. Basically, as long as he's not wounded, your Ewoks are a little bit more tanky.
Yeah, I feel like if Ewoks are going to have more staying power than perhaps intended, it's going to be through this ability. I don't know if it's going to be enough because we know they're a little less durable than some of our other primaries and other units in the game. But this is where you're going to start. Yep.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. I mean, and the thing is with this, I mean, there's a lot of the things within his kit are telling you want to charge forward and attack, but this really kind of is this ability right here makes me think you kind of want to hold him back a little bit and not get him into the fight, so you're not getting him wounded because he is giving that defensive dice bubble. I mean that's kind of how I played Kalani when I played droid. So I think you're kind of wanting to do that as well with him. Is keep him safe. Don't let him get beat up because he's helping out the rest of your squad.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, conversely, if they're just as aggressive as we suspect they're going to be, you could just throw him into the fray too. Like, one for all for Teddy's.
Yeah. Yeah, so we'll see. I mean, like I said, I think the first real big test that we're going to see of these guys will probably, if they get see play, is going to be at Adepticon. So I'm really excited to see what happens there and how this really plays out with all of these guys. And then, so his last ability, his identity is a secret ingredients one. Each time an allied Ewok character wounds an enemy unit, roll an attack dice on a crit or hit result, refresh a force, and then on a failure or expertise result, each character in this unit may or in the attacking unit can dash. So this is pretty cool. I mean, it just again promotes going and Ewoks just murdering people because you're gonna either refresh a force or you get some out of activation movement or some additional movement. It wouldn't be out of activation, but some additional movement. So just promoting the murder bears some more.
Oh yeah. This identity ability tells me what Ewoks want to do, and that's find some stormtroopers to cook on day
Yep.
barbecues.
Yeah, so it's interesting for sure. And the last thing just to highlight is he does have 2 durability and 9 stamina. So not a lot of stamina for a primary unit, and only 2 durability does kind of show you that these guys are a little squishy.
Yeah, he's probably going to go off the table. I mean, Maul goes off sometimes. Your secondaries and supports sometimes go off. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, he's definitely in that camp.
Definitely, definitely. But of course, as all primaries do, he has 2 sides to his card. Omen of Strength is one side. This one he has a range 4 attack with 6 attack dice, or a melee with 7 attack dice, and then 5 defensive dice at range and 6 at melee. Notably on this one, on this side, there are no shoves at all. And the other thing that kind of jumps out to me here is his tactical or his active ability is 5 down the chart. So you're probably not going to be hitting that for free very often. I thought it was bad to hit when we were trying to hit it at 4 with Asajj, and now we're have it all the way at
Mm,
5. So you're probably not hitting that. He does spit out some conditions. You can either pin or strain on your second ability there, and then at 4 you can either expose or disarm. So there are some good stuff there. This side I think is a little more melee focused. Just looking at the expertise chart, because expertise 1 to 3 gives you a crit and damage. 4 gives you 2 crits and a damage. 5 plus gives you 2 crits, a regular strike, and damage. So it seems like you're gonna want to be going melee on this side just to get a little bit farther down your chart, but or your tree, I should say. But it's still not looking that great.
yeah, this does not look like a side that you're going to use very often. Omen of Strength looks like if you are really just trying to lay on some conditions and some damage at the very end of the game, maybe, but I am way more interested in the other side.
Yeah, Wisdom of the Woods is his other side. This one basically kind of flips the dice on it. At range, you have 7. Melee, you have 6 for your attack. Defensive is 6 at range, 5 at melee. So a little bit better. Range, the expertise on range is much better here too. Whereas 1 is gets you a crit, 2 to 3 gets you a crit and a strike, and then 4 plus gives you 2 crits and a strike. But looking at the tree overall, you got a shove on 1 and a shove on 3. Again, the active ability is at 5, but you have 2 shoves in your first 3.
Yeah, yeah. And generally speaking, we look for 2 to 3 successes on average in a combat. And here you go. I mean, just having a shove on the first one, this is the side where I'm gonna want to be on. I mean, the only thing I can think of is if somebody's really getting up in poor Gray's face, and then maybe you switch the other side. But I want to stay on this side because you can shove people on off of points at range and then maybe if you're lucky, you might get to activate, Elder's Command for free. But I'd pay a force for Elder's Command, so let's not worry about the fact that it is not necessarily free with low gray.
Yeah, no, not necessarily free. And also, I mean, again, when your murder bears go and murder people, you're refreshing force. So that's the other piece of it, is that you have some built-in force refresh there. So being able to use that, or paying for to use that, isn't probably going to hurt you that much because of what we anticipate the Ewoks are going to be doing, which is just going all in very aggressively to try and kill people anyway.
Yeah, especially with the Zon activation ability. I mean, if
Right?
you're playing if you're playing all Ewoks, I have a feeling this is who you're going to be Shatterpointing just so that all the teddy bears can pile on and bring back some lamb chops for the rest of the village.
Definitely, definitely. Well, human chops, not lamb chops, like stormtrooper chops.
Yeah,
Trooper
yeah.
chops? Imperial.
Imperial chops. How about that? There you go.
Yeah, so that's pretty exciting. I am excited to see him on the table. So let's go ahead and jump into the next unit. This box will be coming with 2 secondary units. One of them is Wicket. We'll jump into Wicket here in a second. The other one is we're going to see our second instance of R2D2, and this time he's coming with C3PO. So C3PO
You
and
better.
R2D2. Well, I mean, Bar2D2 comes alone, so you know. So no, we do have that. The two of them are going to be together on one base. These guys do have the tags of Droid and Rebel Alliance. They are 4 point cost, 0 force. They are going to have 8 stamina and 2 durability. Um, so overall, I mean they're not much less durable than the primary, which is there's something to be said there, I think. But they also do have a tactics ability called Brilliant, or no, this is not a tactics ability. I'm sorry. They have an active ability called Brilliant Oration. Choose an allied Ewok support character within range 4. The chosen character may gain a hunker token, to make 2 recovers, or make a 5 dice attack. So again, you're getting Ewoks being able to make an out of activation attack right off the bat. To though again, it probably might help you gain some force out of that by doing that out of their activation.
Yeah, yeah. The fact that it's any allied supporting character, so you're gonna want to keep them all
It's
in
Ewok.
range.
It's
But
Ewok
it,
supporting, but yeah,
or yeah, sorry, Ewoks. We're running these guys with Ewoks. My
yes,
bad, my bad. But so the fact that you just get to pick them, it does feel very much like you're gonna have this like everybody's gonna be moving up together sort of thing
mm-hmm.
because you're gonna want to like have C3PO and R2D2 and Logray so that Logray's giving them the bubble and then you're getting to do these extra attacks and oh it feels a little scary. I'm getting a little worried about these teddy bears.
Yeah, they
They're
they look like
looking
they're gonna
kind of
put.
dangerous.
Yeah, they look like they're gonna be doing some damage for sure. I mean, one of the things that jumps out at me is the fact that they do have 2 recovers on here as well. So I mean, you are running up the field or up the board trying to sit there and do some attacks and everything like that. So you are gonna be in range for or repercussions or retaliations, I should say, 2 attacks from your opponent. So this is a way to remove some of that damage that you're going to be getting by running up the board if you wanted to do that. If you're in a position where, you know what, I need to try and keep this person alive that's on a point, one of my Ewoks alive that's on a point, so that can come in pretty handy there as well.
Hey, hey, I need those recovers because I don't know if you've gotten over this, dear listeners, but you remember that scene in Return of the Jedi where the two Ewoks are running away from one of those ATSTs and the ATST just takes out his little teddy bear buddy and then he tries to like shake him awake to be like, hey, are you okay? And then he starts crying because his friend got killed by the evil Empire. So yes, please give me some recovers.
Fair enough. So there is one reactive ability as well. It's called R2. I'm not sure that's such a good idea. When an allied Ewok unit or an allied Rebel Alliance unit begins its activation within range 5, this unit may use this ability. The activating unit may remove any number of conditions from itself. Then the unit suffers a damage for each condition it removed after the first. So basically, for like, and this is no force cost for this one. You just automatically can remove anything, any one condition in range 5, and that's it. No repercussions
Yeah,
for the first one.
yeah, yeah. The first one's free. Come on, the
Yeah.
the first one's always free, Todd.
Yep.
It's all right. But I mean, this is wild to me because this like the things that we try to keep on characters to keep them from rushing us. We give them a pin, we give them a strain. You do these things to slow down and advance from your opponent. And the little teddy bears are like, meat's back on the menu,
Yeah.
boys. Let's run at them some more.
Yeah. It's a real. I like this one. I like it a lot. And even if you have two on there, it's like, okay, well, I can take a damage to remove a strain. Okay. So no, pretty
Right?
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, pretty interesting ability there. And then he does have the C3PO R2D2 do have 2 innate abilities. The first one is Divine Influence. While this unit's active stance is against my programming, allied Ewoks units within range 4 have scale, while the unit's active stance is angry trilling. Allied warrior units within, or Ewok warrior units within range 4 have steadfast. So the first time we're going to see this, they have a flip. They actually a secondary with a flip side to their stance card. So there's two different sides to it, depending on one of them was C3PO, one is R2D2. So your Ewok scouts can either have scale, or your Ewok warriors can have steadfast.
Yeah, and this is just going to change depending on the game. This is one of those that's more of just a bonus. It's
Mm-hmm.
not that it's a great thing, but every once in a while it's going to matter, and that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. It's not something I think you're going to give a lot of thought to, but it's more along the lines. I think if anything, you'd probably want steadfast over scale. I don't know how often you're going to need them to have scale. Steadfast is probably going to be a little bit more impactful because it's that you only stop the first push. So I think that's going to be more impactful, and probably if you're going to be using this card, I think that's going to be the side that you're going to want to stay on for this ability. That might not necessarily be the best side of your stance card, but the ability wise, I think that's probably the better way to go. Last ability, innate ability, is goodness gracious me. While one or more allied Ewok units that are not wounded are within range 3, characters in this unit cannot be targeted by a ranged attack. Pretty
Yeah,
good.
I like these abilities that the Rebel Alliance have, or at least, or maybe it's not even Rebel Alliance. Maybe this is just an effect of like R2 or droids, but I like this idea of like as long as you meet certain conditions or do certain things, they can't actually be targeted. And I know it's probably more of like we're talking about R2D2 and like he's undercover kind of
Mm.
thing, and now this ability is more about like the Ewoks trying to protect their golden god. But it's just fun. I like that we're seeing it in different ways on each card, and it feels flavorful.
Yeah, I like it. I think it's an interesting ability. I like it. I don't I don't even know if this is going to be the secondary that people are going to be playing the most, to be honest. But it's if it does get played, there's some play here.
Yeah, I think it's just going to require some testing. You're just going to have to look and see like what do I need more, what's going to make sense with the list, and people are going to try both. This might be the fun secondary when you're wanting it to be a little more flavorful at the table.
Yeah, yeah. But as far as like playing into the murder bear side of everything, I don't see a lot coming from this. Like because these guys aren't murderful. Like if you look at it, like against my programming, is the C3PO side of the stance card. No range attack, 5 defensive dice, either for ranged or melee, and melee is only 5 attack dice. There's not a lot going on here at all. Especially if you look at the stance card, it's only 5 spots down. It's a straight across the board. One heal, then 2 heals, then the active ability, disarm, and 2 damage. Not really a lot going on with this one at all.
No, no, you're only using the C3PO side if for some reason you need to give your scout scale, or you really need a heal, or you're out of force and you're trying to hit brilliant oration, but no, you're not. It's against this programming. Come
Yeah,
on.
he just doesn't do it.
C3PO is a protocol droid.
Yeah.
Come on.
So just as far as like fun murdering stuff, that is definitely not the side you want to be on. Now, looking at the R2D2 side, where you have angry trilling, this one has a little bit of play to it. Your first step gives you, well, looking at the dice, 0 range, 6 melee, so you get a little bit more melee dice. 5 and 5 again for your defensive dice, but the nice thing about this side is shove on 1, shove on 2, and then one damage along with that second step, 2 damage on the third step, 2 damage on the fifth step if you get as lucky to go all the way down your tree type of a thing, which not really going to happen, but shove for 1 and 2 is pretty nice.
I have to say. uh, R2 is known for shoving himself into situations,
Yes.
and like in Attack of the Clones, he literally just bumped C-3PO into that factory. Like, nah, I got this, and then he flies off on his jets, doesn't even save him.
Right.
this this at least feels like R2D2. Like, nah, if R2's doing anything, yeah, he's bumping into somebody and be like, "Hey, what's up? I'm here."
Right. Yeah. No, I like the card. Again, I don't in the Ewok team that you're going to be building. I don't know if this is something you're going to be playing, but it'll be fun to put them on the board and see what you can do with these guys if you're going to give them a try. So then the other secondary that comes with this unit is Wicket the Intrepid Warrior. He is also Endor Ewok Warrior tags, 4 point cost, 0 force, Galactic Civil War, just like everything else. So he's pretty cool. He does have an tactics ability called Lead the Charge. At the start of this unit's activation, you choose an enemy character in line of sight, and an allied supporting unit, an Ewok supporting unit, I should say, within range 3. Each character in this unit may each character in this unit and each character in the chosen allied unit dash towards the enemy character. So you can potentially move 3 models in this one, which is pretty cool. And it's again just moving towards the things that you want to kill.
Yeah. And again, this is an allied Ewok supporting unit
Mm,
within 3. So, I mean, presumably you don't have to have both characters within range 3, right? It's just you just need to keep them there to 1, right?
correct.
Or am I Okay, right. So I think this isn't too difficult to pull off. Again, it feels very much like, and this is going to be the silliest comparison I think in the history of humanity, but it feels almost like you're playing the Ewoks like it's the last stand of the 300 Spartans against Persia. Like they're moving up in their shield wall with their spears and then poking anything that's on the other side.
So they're
Like,
just sitting there screaming, "This is Endor" instead of "This is Sparta." Is that where you're going with this?
I think it's this is Yub Nub.
Close enough. Yeah. So no, it's a very interesting ability that he has here. Definitely getting a lot of more movement, which is always great. That out of activation movement is always great. So yeah, I like what we're seeing here. He has 2 more abilities. Both of them are active abilities. So first one is Hunting Horn. This one costs a force. It is also going to cost an action. So one of the first times that we've seen this where an active ability is going to be an action. Each enemy unit within range 3 that is not engaged gains pin, and then each enemy unit within range 3 that is engaged gains exposed. So it's either if they're not engaged they get pinned, if they are engaged they get exposed.
Yeah, this is fascinating to me because I'll admit when I first read this, I just kind of glanced over that action
Mm-hmm.
part at the beginning. I was like, "Oh, wow, this is really strong." I'm like, "Whoa, whoa, why is this so strong?" Then I look at it again and I go, "Oh, you're spending an action and a force or more if Wicked is injured."
Mm-hmm.
And so but then you read it. I mean, that's huge because there are occasions, depending on what struggle you're on and which mission path you're in, but you get these weird like quagmires because like the objective dice rolls weird for like 5 turns in a row, and the double point is just the same one over and over and over, and then Wicket comes over and he's like, "Hey, what's up, everybody?" Boom! Exposed bomb goes.
Yeah. So definitely cool. I mean, definitely that like you can just hand that out. I mean, the other part is like you can pin somebody and force them to not be able to move. Like if you're put a pin on a somebody within range 3, so they're not engaged, but they are within range 3. You're going ahead and pinning somebody, and then to stop them from being able to get onto a point or something like that.
Yeah, yeah. This definitely Wicket feels like who you're gonna be bringing as the secondary. Like I like R2. I like C-3PO. Hopefully, we get another version of them that's, I don't know, maybe more spy focused, like from A New Hope. But
Yeah.
it maybe we're wrong. Maybe we're wrong. That extra attack from Brilliant Oration might matter.
I think it will. Maybe. Probably not. Who knows? But yeah, so I mean, it's. But I mean, then the other ability he has is stealthy approach, one force. Each character in this unit can dash, and then the unit that can either gain a hunker or focus. So something we're seeing a recurring theme here with the stealthy approach.
Yep.
So nothing out of the ordinary there. Again, 9 stamina, 2 durability, so he's just as durable as Logray when it comes down to it, as far as the stamina and durability. So that's an interesting situation there. Quite a bit on his chart, though. He definitely wants to be in melee, looking at the way that the dice are falling. He has a range 4 attack for 5 dice, with 5 defensive dice at range, and then 7 attack dice in melee, with 6 defensive dice in melee. So definitely rolling a lot more dice in the ranged or in the melee attack there for sure.
Yeah. The Ewoks want to be up in your face. Like
Definitely.
that. It makes sense that they have a ranged attack because we saw the Ewoks all using slings during the and bows during the Battle of Endor. But nah, come on, they're here for the stabby.
Yeah, they just want to get there with their spears and just start stabbing the crap out of people. So, but again, one of the nice things that we see on steps 1 and step 3, there is the potential for, or you're definitely going to be starting step 1 with a shove no matter what. It's a shove and a damage. And then step 3, you can get a shove, or depending on the route that you go, can get 1 shove or 2 damage, depending on the route that you go onto the tree. So, pretty interesting there on what you want to do, but it's nice to know that he has that displacement on steps 1 and 3 with those shoves.
Yeah, it's basically what we look for as the pass fail rate with Shatterpoint.
Yeah,
You really want, if you're getting into combat and you're not murdering them immediately, you want to get them off the point.
without a doubt, without a doubt. And overall, I mean, the expertise chart's not the greatest, not the worst. Again, I don't think you really want to be doing anything range. I mean, 1 to 2, you get a strike and a damage. 3+, you're getting a crit and a damage with your sling on the range attack. On melee, it's a little bit better. 1 to 2 expertise gets you 2 hits. 3 gets you a crit and a hit, and then 4+ gets you 2 crits and 1 hit. So I like that you just want to get into combat with him. I don't think you really want to be at range with him in any way.
Nah, nah. Let's go stabby.
Yep.
That's all I have for you, listeners. The Ewoks are stabby.
Yeah, I think that's. I mean, the running theme is don't just get straight in their face and stab to death. So, yep. I mean, and then again, the last unit that is going to be in this box is going to be the Ewok Trappers. Again, 4 point cost. They are a supporting unit, Galactic Civil War era, just like everything else. Endor Ewok Scout. And lo and behold, they have this great ability an active ability. I don't know if we've talked about it yet. It's called Stealthy Approach. It costs 1 force. Each character in this
Oh,
unit can
what does
dash.
stealthy approach do?
So, I mean, just in case you were wondering, Aubrey, each character in this unit can dash, and then they can either gain a hunker or immediately make a focus action. I know this surprises you a lot.
Let's go on to the next one. The next one is very interesting. It changes the game. Dun dun
Dun
dun.
dun dun. So there's basically 3 innate abilities, and yeah, this is the one that I think is really exciting. It's Battle Tactics, Primitive Artifice, or Artifice, I should say. So when you create your starting order deck, you may include up to 1 Primitive Artifice Battle Tactics card. When you draw a Battle Tactics card, resolve the effect of the card, then draw another ordered card and continue your turn as normal. So this one has that card, and let's see. This one is interesting. So it has that primitive artifice. So basically, when you get this card, you activate it, you choose an active objective and roll an attack dice. If you get a crit, each enemy unit that is contesting that, the chosen objective, they gain a pin. Then push each enemy character that is contesting the chosen objective 2 away from the objective. The pushed character suffers 2 damage. That's a lot. So if they get,
Ooh,
oh,
you are praying. You are praying to the golden god that is C3PO. that you get a crit when you draw this card because wow, that just wow,
It's a lot.
that's everything you want. Push, pin, damage.
Yeah.
It's a giant push. It's range 2 away. Like what?
Yes, it is.
Unless they are sitting literally on top of the point, which is what we try to do, they are off of that point.
Yep. Yeah, very, very cool. So then, of course, it's going to go down from there. So if they get a normal strike, each enemy unit or each enemy character that is contesting the chosen objective suffers 2 damage. Still pretty good for just drawing a card, and then you still get to draw another one. So still really good. If you get the
Yeah.
expertise, each enemy unit is contesting it gains the pin and suffers 2 damage. So expertise is going to be a better way to go. But again, that's more limited. And then the last one is your failure. Each enemy character that is contesting the objective gains pin. All of it's great.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's all upside. And I just think it's funny that the pin is like the failure so that like because normally you would think of like, oh, they missed the log trap, but then like the log fell on them and their legs stuck or whatever. And normally that would be terrifying because of the murder death bears.
Right?
But in this game, hey, I'll take a pin. That's all right. If I can, if I draw the appropriate character that can shove them off the point, cool. Now I've the worst thing that could happen here is they got pinned and then I shoved them with my activating unit. Oh, I'm so sad.
Right? It's not awful at all. So I mean, I like this. It's a really interesting addition to the game, throwing this little mix in here. So I like it. I think it's cool.
And I mean they created a whole extra set of rules for these cards, so I'm guessing this isn't going to be the only one that we see.
Yeah, probably not. Probably not. I mean, it's the battle tactic cards. I'm assuming we're going to be seeing these coming in the future. It would be really interesting. I could see something like this coming in like in the Hondo box with his pirates or something. So
Yeah, right. Yeah. Oh, that'd be fun. It should be like inverted. Like it's the opposite because Hondo. It
right.
what doesn't work works.
Exactly, exactly. So no, it'll be pretty cool to see what happens there. I mean, what we'll see in the future with this battle tactics ability then and the cards that come from it. So yeah, super excited to see that. So there is again 2 other abilities that they have. They're both innate abilities that like the other one. The next one is called camouflage. At the end of setup, this unit gains hunker. So they just start the game with hunker.
Yeah. I mean that's fine. That's fine. Like okay.
I mean, which that's nice because the beginning of the game, you're going to be moving them forward, and so I mean, you might get yourself into a range where they can get shot at, but they're going to have that extra defensive dice. So I like it. I think it makes sense with the name camouflage that is something cool like that. And then their last ability is strength in numbers. When a character in this unit makes an attack as part of a combat action, for each other allied Ewok character engaged with the target that is not wounded, you add 1 attack dice to the attack roll. Murder swarming Ewok murder bears just everywhere. I mean, I think you want to play this on something where you're not going to have a lot of active, um, a lot of active objectives. So you definitely want to, so you can swarm in with all of your Ewoks and just be murdering like crazy.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. This is Yub Nub yet again
Mm-hmm.
because this you feel like you're just bringing up this wall of teddies. They're all staying with each other. They're all fighting, 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 and then they're giving extra dice to each other. Alternatively, this also kind of they remind me a little bit of the Mandalorians in that like basically you're going to want to move them and keep them near each other because this does count one another, right? Because
Correct.
a character in this unit makes an attack for each other allied. So even if I'm wrong and the wall of teddies doesn't materialize just because of how objectives go or what's happening in the game, at least these two are like, no, we got each other. We got this. It's fine. It's okay.
Yeah, really cool. Really cool. I mean, it's so I'm interested to see how these guys play out. I mean, there's a lot of interesting Ewok synergies that are going to be getting played here, just like with the droid synergies that we saw from the core box and everything like that. So it'll be interesting to see how the Ewoks play. I mean, where there's a lot of similarities, where there might be something there. These guys are, normal durability and stamina for a supporting unit. They have 7 stamina, 2 durability, so nothing outside of the norm there. Overall, looking at their stance card, it's not too bad. They have range 4, 5 attack dice, 5 defensive dice. For melee, they have 6 attack and 4 defensive dice. So no, not too bad. I mean, that pretty on par for what you would expect. One of the things I do like, first step they have 2 damage. Second step they have a shove, and then on the third step you can either go a pin and a damage or a shove and a damage. So looking at the first two to three, you're looking at potentially 2 shoves.
Yes, yes, and push pin.
Yep.
Oh,
Bless
excuse
you.
me. Push pin is where you want to be. So yeah, and 2 to 3 successes, and then remember again, more often than not, these guys will be adding at least 1 attack dice
Mm-hmm.
because you're probably there at the minimum keeping them with each other. So it's really like 6 and 7. So there's probably only going to be rare instances where you wouldn't get that extra dice. So they're punching a little bit above their weight class.
Yep. I mean, they do get an extra damage depending on their expertise. So on the range, they get a damage for 1 to 2, and 3 plus gives a strike and a damage. If they're in melee, 1 to 2 gets you a strike and a damage. 3 gets you 2 strikes and a damage, and 4 plus gets you a crit and a damage. So they're going to be putting a little bit of damage out. It's nothing that's going to be one hitting or taking out somebody from, or, on an attack or anything like that. But you can get some chip damage in for sure with these guys.
Yeah, yeah. These guys feel like they're going to be more of the. I mean, just maybe I'm getting into their abilities too much, but they're going to kind of like they'll be the ones sneaking around to like the edges of your Ewok wall, and then they're like, "Hey, shove that guy! Hey, shove that guy!" And uh, you know, give me extra dice, buddies. Like that's what it feels like.
Yeah, I think they're kind of just playing off of one another, doing little things there. So it's interesting. I think they're an interesting puzzle to play. I know that locally we have one player. He's just jumping in simply to play Ewoks, so it'll be interesting. I mean, no, I'm sure I'm going to be seeing a lot of Ewok play as soon as these guys drop next week. Because here in the states, they are not officially released yet. So I know throughout the world, some people have gotten these boxes already and probably already been able to paint them up and put them on the table. We have not been as lucky here in the states.
Yeah, it is what it is. Distribution. I don't know. Maybe pirates were involved, but
Yeah,
uh,
Hondo out there in there taking all the Shatterpoint boxes. There's something going on.
yeah, that sounds like something Honda would do.
Totally, totally. Well, yeah. So I mean, that kind of wraps up the box here. I mean, like I said, it was really exciting to take a look at that. I'm really excited to look at the next box. But I think we're going to touch on that next week. One other announcement I did kind of want to put out there. We are in the works. Like I think we've kind of teased at it before in the beginning planning stages of getting Shatterpoint at LVO next year. We definitely want to get the word out there. If everything works out and we're able to get the event to kick off, we'll know probably like middle of this year, like that if everything pans out as we are hoping. But yeah, if you are planning to go to LVO and you are into Shatterpoint, keep that in mind because like as we get more concrete information, we'll let you know. But we're definitely in the planning stages to try and make a really fun event for everybody up there at LVO next year.
Absolutely, it's gonna be fun. I've got the 3D printer running. I'm actually sitting on the other side of the computer. For me is a bunch of the terrain I've already printed. We're slowly but surely we'll be ready. We'll be ready by the time it matters.
Yep, yeah. So like I said, we're in the beginning stages, and it's like hoping everything works out. And I have a good feelings. I'm hopeful, and I think that it's all going to work out. So I'm really excited for it. Like I said, just keep that in mind for any of you that normally go to LVO or are hoping to go to LVO, or the ones that went there last year that didn't really enjoy what happened. Like I'm hoping that we can make some changes. But yeah, so other than that, though, I do want to thank everybody for listening. We are very thankful for you. If you want to support us, as always, like I said, you can definitely jump onto Patreon, join for as little as $1 a month. If you don't want to go that route, the best way to support us outside of that is to go ahead and rate review our podcast on whatever podcast platform you are listening to us on. If you're watching us on YouTube, go ahead, like, subscribe, leave us a comment, let us know what you think about the episode and what we were talking about. If you are a patron, stick on by, wait for our after episode talk that we're going to be having. We're going to sit there and we're going to talk some Star Wars lore, I think is really what we're going to be doing. That's what we're planning on doing for our after action review type of a thing that we're going to be doing for you, everybody, for all of our patrons. But other than that, again, thanks for listening, and may the Force be with you.
May the Force be with you.